The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to bring you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.
This is Jordan Bennington, and you're listening to the Blues Fan Forum podcast.
Skating on the ice, under St. Louis city lights, where the Blues play with all their might. Jordan Cairo, fast on the attack, but defense falters, gotta cut him some slack. In rubber tones, we find our glory, his skills shine, the team's best story. St. Louis Blues, we wear the crest. In Jordan Bennington, we put our trust to the test. On the ice, we fight and we must, for the city we love. In the blue, no we'll thrust.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 131 of the Blues Fan Forum podcast, your source for Blues news, views, and fan interviews. Powered by Scooter's Coffee. Blues fans can score amazing drinks like the signature Caramelicious, served hot, iced, or blended with world-class espresso, fruit smoothies, Scoot energy infusions, and so much more. That is amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooter's Coffee. We're about 10 minutes late, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Our guest for this week is Aaron. Aaron, how are you? Are you there, Aaron? We had technical difficulties before we could get started, and now we might have technical difficulties in the middle of it. All right. Dakota, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, well, we have Dakota here. We'll give Aaron a second. Dakota, how are you doing?
I'm good. It doesn't feel like a Monday, but nonetheless, it is opening week of the NHL season, so it's a good time to be alive.
It felt weird to set my fantasy hockey lineup. I went through and made sure I set it correctly. And Yahoo always does such a shitty job of you go and you hit set lineup for all week. And then I go through and like my number one draft pick they had on the bench one day when he had a game. Like they just fill it in with other random people. And I was like, what's going on here?
I think Yahoo's doing me a favor. I think they're doing me a favor by keeping that guy on the bench because last year.
Do I play you week one?
I don't know what I'm doing. And then you finish second in the league. So
I did. I've never played it before. I mean, I know hockey, I think. Aaron, are you back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, you guys were talking, and then went robot, and boom.
I know.
So I decided to move closer to the front room, see if there's maybe my internet acting up.
There we go. Hey, we'll take it with the "We Did It" poster in the background too. That's a fine spot to stand in. All right, Aaron, how are you?
Good. Hopefully better now. Hopefully this works. But yeah, good. So.
All right. Dakota was talking about how it's finally regular season hockey week. We are officially back.
Yes.
Actually, by the time this episode comes out as its podcast, games will have been played on Tuesday. No Blues games, but NHL games will have been played by Tuesday, which is pretty exciting.
Shush. Yeah, and I am excited for that because let's see, tomorrow's Blackhawks, Panthers, and then who's the night game? It's Kings and Boston?
I don't even know who. I just know we play on Thursday.
I know tomorrow's first game is Blackhawks Panthers and it's Panthers raising ceremony. So yeah.
Yep. So that makes sense. It's nice for them to give the Panthers a nice easy win to start the year.
Hopefully.
Connor Bedard, what he will never achieve.
Yeah, be like, look at this banner. Look how cool it is.
You'll never achieve in Chicago.
Hopefully somewhere else, and I don't hate people who play for Chicago. I just hate them when they play for Chicago.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Indeed.
All right. Let's go ahead, and there's a lot of stuff that has happened recently. Actually, a lot of stuff that's even just happened today. But since we're on Florida, I know Aaron wanted to talk about this. So let's get into whatever type of hockey game that was the other day between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Aaron, you're more educated, I think, about this than I am. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what happened?
Okay, so the last two preseason games were a home and home series versus Tampa Bay and Florida. The penalty minutes, I think, almost ranges the 500s between the two games. I know the last game was
All right, 322.
Yep, and 16 ejections
Yep.
in that game. Literally, you looked at the bench, there was no man on there. And the last game, literally, both sides played their AHL guys who most ain't going to see the light of day. And it started out with somebody running an Ekblad. I forget who the guy was. I sent you the link to the
Yeah,
Panthers video
that
of
guy
it.
actually just got a 5-game suspension, the guy who ran Ekblad.
Because the way he ran him and just turned around and started looking for a fight like he was in a bar fight. And I was like, yeah, this is going to work out. Because, and when the Blues groups I'm in, somebody posted again, I'm like, well, no, that happened on the other day. That was like Thursday's game because they were in Tampa and Greer ran Hagel, knocked Hagel out of the game. And then everything, all bets were off. Then it come to find out, it was like, oh, it is the same game. I started looking it up for the information. I was like, oh my God. The hockey, old time hockey enthusiast in me was excited because that's what rivalries were in the 70s and 80s. That was just basically you beat the crap out of your opponent. And especially if the game's out of hand like that. Now, granted, this is preseason, doesn't matter. But it was just one of those where that's what I miss in rivalries in hockey. Right now, you don't have that with Blues and Blackhawks because Blackhawks are not good right now. You kind of have that with Winnipeg a little bit. There is that bad blood starting to brew a little bit more, which is good. Colorado, it's hit and miss. Dallas is kind of hit and miss anymore. Nashville's there, but it's one of those where I think Nashville's got to get really good and it's got to be a competitive game to where you could have that more so. But I do think it's there with Utah right now. I think Utah and us are kind of on that same wavelength. Utah wants to prove that they're somebody, and we want to prove that we're somebody too. Even though we snuck in last year and by beating them, Utah could have got in if they just didn't hit a couple skids here and there. Utah has always scared me, even when they were Phoenix, Arizona, whatever you want to call them anymore. But it's that kind of scenario. And then lastly, you have the Wild, which, hey, look what's happening on Thursday. We versus the Wild home. I would love that scenario. My thing is, there's been people that question it. Is this good for the game? Like Steve Dangle's podcast had part of it was, is this good for the game? This is how it should be. And I kind of wanted to know how you guys felt about having that type of rivalry back where it's just a bloodbath on the ice versus you play a competitive game, yeah, there's some hits. It's kind of, let's say, first round playoff hockey vibe, but nothing too serious.
I mean, I think there's a time and a place. I mean, we're not going to go to the St. Patrick's Day massacre and, like those types of things. I feel like we put it to bed. I feel like the NHL is now in a time and a place where we're trying to make the game more safe. We're trying to see people play their entire careers out instead of being, plagued with like a Paul Correa injury or an Andy McDonald or something like that. Like we don't want somebody to get hurt for our own entertainment. I feel like hockey nowadays is more of a sport where it's all about skill and how good of a shot kids are developing in colleges. I think it's more of a how many people can we stack in the penalty box, and the announcers are just having a field day. Do I think there's a time and a place? Absolutely. When we play like a guy like Nazem Kadri, and he has put himself in a position to be one of the most hated people on the ice. Do I see us running him into the boards, and am I the one standing up and cheering? Absolutely. But I feel like those times of 300 plus penalty minutes are probably gone. I miss that part of hockey. I mean, my dad used to work for the Blues, and he used to talk about all these wild stories of guys getting their, teeth, sewn shut in the locker room in the second period and then going back out in the third, just because that's just how they were made. But I think today's day and age is definitely a safer game, but I definitely miss it. But I don't think we're ever going to see a 300-plus penalty minute night in a regular season NHL game. Preseason probably, because we can get away with it.
Mhm.
But NHL regular season, when it actually counts, probably not.
Well, they didn't get away with it very much because they lost. Well, like I mentioned, one guy did get 5 games suspension. I've never heard of the guy, so he might be just an AHL player. But then a lot of them actually got fined. And if you're an AHL player, like the fines were fairly hefty. So
Yeah.
like that was like for an AHL player, like that might have hurt a little bit, those fines. As far as seeing that in the regular season, as I was watching the video, sometimes I was like, okay, this is just stupid. Like a guy's going for a line change and they like bump each other and then they just start fighting for no reason. Like that makes no sense to me. That's just fighting to fight. There were a lot of heavy hits that were penalties. And if that's the case, if someone's illegally hitting someone on your team, yeah, go put him in the ground and punch his face. Like that's exactly what you should do. If it's just a heavy hit that is a legal hit in the game of hockey, I don't feel like you should go defend that, especially if it's someone like skating in the middle of the ice with their head down and they just get clobbered. Like, no, like that's just that guy on the puck needs to be better at hockey and pick his head up and not get run over. But if it's something illegal, I think absolutely, or anything on the goalie. I know they protect the goalie a lot. So anything either illegal or on the goalie should definitely be handled, I think. And maybe not get to the 322 penalty minutes that Florida and Tampa Bay got to, but I think it should be, there's part of standing up for your teammates there.
I'll counter with 2 things. One, always protect your goalie. As someone who played goal, protect your goalie.
Right.
That's my big thing. As for the hit in open ice, that one you kind of can see in regular season because that's always happening. It could be a clean hit, but there's always going to be a brouhaha afterwards because not everybody's paying attention to play. It's in real time, fast motion. You don't know if it's legal. You don't know if it's clean until after, the dust settles and you see the video replay. So
yeah, it's not like that collision happens and everyone's like, wait, did the ref call penalty?
I think the second major and game misconduct Tampa got, I didn't like that hit at all. That's no need for hockey. I forgot who the player was for Florida that got hit, but his head's turned, he's down, and his neck's turned, and the guy rams his neck into the dasher on the boarding hit. I'm like, that. There's no place for that. That's a terrible hit. You are taught from a young age. If you see numbers, you let up. I know he turned to the hip, but it's still the guy's in a very vulnerable position. I get he's going for the puck. I get he's trying to dig it out, but still, that's where you gotta let up. Even if you're in a bad mood, even if it's that kind of rivalry game, you need to let up. I love that type of old-time hockey. I love that rivalry feel. I remember one of my first Blues experiences was a Blues Blackhawks game. We lost 4-1. I remember that game because Jeff Courtnall scored a penalty shot for the Blues. And I remember on the ice, it was nothing but chaos. And then I remember trying to leave as a kid, and there's about 5 different fights in the stands between Blues and Blackhawks fans. I do miss that for that reason. But again, I'm not going to be the one to go, yeah, I'm okay with, like Dakota said, well, nobody's getting hurt. And if people are getting hurt for our amusement, then it's not good enough. No injuries should come of it, hopefully.
I think Cam Jansen said, he probably said this about 2 months ago, last time I listened to the Cam and Strick podcast, but he mentioned, because Andy Strickland was talking about, what the job of an enforcer was back in his era of playing, and he played it during an era where the enforcer role was kind of becoming extinct. Nowadays, you don't really see a role defined as an enforcer. It's somebody who's going to go around and keep everybody honest. Kind of, it's now the team polices itself.
Yeah.
If somebody run, I would say this is more of like a Braden Shen. If Braden Shen sees Robbie Tommy or even Jimmy Snuggerud catch an elbow or he gets, clocked a certain way, well, no, Braden Shen's probably going to go out there the next shift. And if he's on the ice with the guy, probably going to make it even. But nowadays, it's everybody polices themselves, or the team that's on the ice at the time will go and police something and make it right again. Instead of having those rivalries build up where it was like in the early 70s, late 80s, that time frame where every time you circled Detroit or you circled Chicago on your calendar because you knew that was going to be a barn burner, it was going to be a brawl. Somebody was going to drop the gloves from the moment they dropped the puck to the last second. But nowadays you just don't see that because now we're not really holding grudges game to game. Like, yes, when Kadri ran Bennington, we were ready to run him straight through the St. Louis Arch. So in the playoffs, I feel like the grudges, amplify because there's a lot on the line. But for the Florida and Tampa Bay game, like it's preseason. Like, keep all these guys healthy. Like, these guys are all playing for a roster spot. They're also playing for their livelihood. Like Jacob mentioned, that like if you're on an AHL salary and you're getting hit with a $125,000 fine, like what are you doing? Like you're just being stupid. And I feel like the coaches and definitely the referees and the linesmen, I mean, their hands were their hands were full. And for them to do it like they did and kind of make an ass of themselves in the last two games of the preseason, like, what are you doing? Like, it just doesn't make much sense. Like, even on the call, the last game, Kerber and Joey Vitale was like, yeah, you're not going to see our first line or second line guys. We're going to play the rookies and we're going to keep our guys healthy. They're going to sit the bench and, we're going to coast into the first regular season game. That's how it should be. You should be resting your first line, second line, third line guys, making sure they're healthy because, the regular season is just around the corner. That's how it should be.
Yeah, well, I think Florida had obviously Ekblad out there. I'm pretty sure Carter Verhaeghe was playing, and I know Mikkola was playing. So I'm not sure who else was out there. Like, I don't think Forsling was playing. I know Barkov and Kachuk are injured.
Rodriguez is playing. I know Greer was playing.
Was Lundell out there?
No, Liddell wasn't out there, and Bennett wasn't playing.
Okay.
I do. It's that some. I'm going to butcher this name. It's that really long name. Samson Medic.
Yeah.
If you look it up.
Bob, no help here.
I know he was playing. I think he was the one that got boarded too. So I know there's a handful, but I think Tampa didn't play hardly any of their people. I don't think they played Hagel. I don't think they played Cooch or anything. The only person they played I think I know of was Vasilevsky, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we did mention it is opening week. Sam, our featured, our all-time guest here, is exciting for opening week. And then Justin said, "How are we doing? Excited for the season." So thank you, Sam, and for always being here, and Justin for being here. Sam Zaskevich.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Samesies Kevich. That's what we're gonna call it. Samesies Kevich. All right. With it being opening week, the final rosters, 23-man, came out today. In my opinion, exactly. I mean, when we put this team on paper 3 months ago, this is the roster you expected. The only hiccup being the potential of the Milan Lucic being signed, but as of right now, still on his PTO. Aaron, how are you feeling about the roster right now?
Roster's fine. I expected it. Kind of going through the preseason, everybody looked good. I know me and Dakota were talking about it. Texie is the only one, especially after the PTO, I could saw maybe being waived, but I think keeping him is still a good option. The only fear I have right now is that question mark with Sonny after yesterday's practice. There is that big, nobody said anything. That's being very hush-hush. So, but other than that, I like that. I was hoping Skinner would stay up versus Kessel, but that was just me hoping for somebody because I liked his play in the preseason versus Kessel's, but Kessel's also had more experience up here. And I think with Skinner, he's on a two-way contract, so it makes more sense to send him down. He'll clear waivers, and then if you need your next call up defenseman, you have him. But other than that, I'm good with it.
Dakota?
Yeah, I like I was saying with Aaron, I think the Texier over Lucic was was a good decision. I liked Texier. He's like that. I don't know. Last year he played a role that you were glad you had him on there. You're glad you had him on your roster whenever you needed him. He didn't play that much. I didn't really like his play that much last year, which is why I think that he earned a bench spot. But he did fill in quite nicely when we were kind of shuffling guys through. Thomas injury, Holloway injury. Having that guy on the roster was a really good addition. I think he earned a spot this year. He may have not had a great camp, but he played a very vital role in us getting to the playoffs last year. And so I feel like that, he's got to play his way out. I think he's going to spend a lot of time on the bench because I think Matthew Joseph definitely earned his spot this year on a line combination. I really liked his play last year. I thought he was really a bright spot. I know we sent P.O. Joseph. I really thought that was going to work out for us, but man, I'm glad we kept Matthew. But the only thing I was really confused with was the Dalibor Dvorsky, and then obviously we'll get into the goaltender that didn't clear waivers. But yeah, Dalibor Dvorsky. It was one of those things. It was 220, 221. It was, if he stays up, is he going to play? But if you send him down, man, you're glad because you can develop that chemistry. He can be on a first line, whatnot. But I was kind of shocked, but not shocked at the same time to see him kind of send him to AHL. But it looks good on paper. I think we've got a really good roster. I think we've added some decent additions. I think the team has played really well. I mean, the last two preseason games, we let in one goal. So it makes you feel a whole lot better going into the regular season, knowing that the team has some sort of chemistry. And I think the first full year and first camp with Jim Montgomery is just going to be an added benefit.
All right. I'm going to hit a couple comments as you guys were talking there. Justin, fellow podcaster. So Justin, assume if you're still listening, we're always looking for guests so we can do a collab at some point. But Justin did mention that, Texier can kind of fill in. And I think Dakota said this too, fill in for a game or two. And then it's just kind of, he's had even last year some snipes. It's like, oh God, this guy could play on the second line. And then he disappears for 4 games. And it's like, why is he still playing? Sam did mention that Skinner is on a 2-way contract, so that does make it easier to send him down because he's getting paid less now that he's down there. He did have to clear waivers, and he did clear today. So no losing Skinner. So yeah, going back to the Dvorsky talk, my assumption, my guess would be that they did not think that Dvorsky earned that third role spot. They're going to keep it with Jake Neighbors. They're going to keep it with probably, it looks like Shen as the center, and then either Matthew Joseph or Bukestad on the right wing. But I would imagine if there is a long-term injury to anyone in the top 6, they're not just going to start Texier long-term. They're going to then bring up Dvorsky, and he would be the long-term replacement because they didn't want Dvorsky just sitting on the bench and playing every other third game like Texier is going to do. So that would be my thought, is they're just already got it penciled in as the first forward call up in the case of a long-term injury of some sort.
I was listening to BK and Ferrario today at 101. I think Ferrario brought up the best point I liked with it. Dvorsky and Lindsay are your 2 call-ups. Lindsay, if you need a winger, let's say if people get hurt and everything else.
And then Stenberg? Lindstein's a defenseman.
Yes. My brain.
Yep.
It's a Monday. I forgive myself. Yes. Stenberg. Sorry. Everybody in the chat, don't kill me. Stenberg. He's your first call-up as a winger. And then, like you said, Dvorsky is your call-up when you need a center. If Shen gets hurt, Suter or Tomer, something happens like that where it's like a couple weeks, yeah, he's your automatic call-up because you really don't have another center to fill in there. And I'm okay with that. And with me, both of them are going to get plenty of seasoning down there in Springfield, and Springfield's going to have a hell of a team down there. They are going to have a really stacked team, and it's going to be fun to watch. Plus, if you want to go a little further down the pipeline, and kind of heard Carbonell's already got 2 goals in his first 5 games with juniors. And then, God bless it, I know his name. He's our other rookie that everybody was really high on. He's got a very Eastern European last name. It's like 5 letters, and I can't
That's
think of it
playing
for
on
last
a
name.
juniors team.
Yes. Oh hell! I wish I had. Wait, look it up. My brain shut in. I know who it is. I just can't pronounce it. I
Mhm.
see the letters and I just see Scrabble right now in my brain.
It's not like Stancil, but he's been around
No, it's
for a
not
couple years.
Stancil. It's a Czech. It's
Is it Yurchek, the defenseman, or well, no, yeah, because he's at juniors, but
yeah, it might be him.
a lot of the other guys are
Might be Yurchek because
in AHL.
BK was talking about that, or Ferrari was talking about that rather today.
Mhm.
Like he's got points in his first few games. And it's like, yeah, they're not worried about it.
Yep.
And a lot of scouts, even NHL scouts, are saying, "Hey, Blues have a really good pipeline coming up here, so their farm system's really good." And I credit that to Army and everything else dealing with that. So I'm kind of really excited about not just this season, but AHL season for Springfield, and then watching our rookies do well in their junior teams, hopefully. So
Well,
I
one
mean,
thing that
Jacob
is
mentioned it
going.
last year.
What's that?
So well, you mentioned it last year. Like we were talking about this isn't the team of now. This is the team of the future. Like we're just building just an absolute unit. One just in the NHL roster now, but just our farm system is the team of the future. Like we've got people just waiting in the wing to fill spots upon when they become available. So it feels really good for one as a fan, but two as probably an organization to know they're not really worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice mix of veteran and youth, both in the NHL, but also in the AHL, which is nice to see. You got young players like Dvorsky, who's 20 years old, Stenberg, Lindstein, all these guys. I think Pekarsic's down there, I think Stansel's down there. All these guys that are playing in the AHL and not just playing juniors. Like that's an upgrade playing against men now and not people your age. So yeah, the future is bright, but now is bright as well. To go to, and actually, I swear I didn't read this, but I kind of just stole Justin's words, I guess. He says the future is definitely bright. To talk about the AHL team, Springfield got a little hit today or was it yesterday? Today or yesterday?
today they
Was
claimed
it
him.
today? Yeah, Colton Ellis got claimed by the Buffalo Sabres. Aaron, what's your reaction to that? As I don't really think it affects the NHL team, but how do you think it affects the Thunderbirds or just the Blues in the future?
This is my 2 cents with it. I know UEL for Buffalo's hurt, so that's why they went and got Ellis. I guess they think he's maybe NHL ready or could be ready. I don't think it hurts the Blues and Thunderbirds too much because you got Zarenko down there. I do think it gives him a chance to show he can be the next goalie. They're high on him too, just like Ellis. Only question I've had, and I don't know if you guys would know the answers, or anybody in chat or anybody in general would know this answer. If Buffalo were to send him down, he would have to clear waivers again, I think. But my question is, can they send him down? Because if he's claimed off waivers, I think they have to keep him in the NHL roster for the whole season. I'm not 100% sure on that. And if they do send him down, would that be the same way for the Blues, where if they send him down, we could reclaim him off waivers and put him back in the AHL? I don't know the answer to that. I do want to say that. My other little tidbit, this is my personal opinion, I feel like Buffalo did this partially, maybe tinfoil hat, out of spite for the Ryan O'Reilly thing. Still, maybe they're upset about. Not 100% sure with that one, but you know, but again, I thought Buffalo had like 4 extra goalies in their system, all age already. So
they have Pekka Luca
yeah,
Jingleheimer Schmidt, whatever his last name is, who is injured. But they also have Alex Lyon and Alexei Gorgiev, who are replacement level goaltenders. So if Puka, whatever that guy's name is.
UEL.
If their starter is going on IR, they still have 2 goalies who have played solid
Yeah.
NHL minutes before. So yeah, according to my research, and it was some guy on Twitter that considered himself a capologist, and so I trust him more than I trust myself. But he said that if they would have to send him down, he would have to clear waivers. If the
Okay.
Blues claim him, and Blues don't have like the automatic right. It goes through the order of whatever waivers is. I don't know how that order is chosen.
Waivers is so during the season, it's whoever's in last goes first.
That's what
And
I
then
figured. Yeah,
it
like
goes by order of what place you're in, basically.
So if they send him down, Blues would have a chance just like everybody else to claim him. If the Blues are the only team to claim Ellis, then we can send him down to the AHL for free because we're getting him back. If somebody else claims him and maybe he still comes to us, like let's say Colorado claims him, but we're ahead of Colorado, so we get him. Then because another team claimed him, we will have to send him again through waivers. And then we could just play gymnastics and then maybe Buffalo takes him back. I don't know. Maybe we'll just play catch with Colton Ellis a couple times. So,
or worse, you do is you trade a X round pick that's like 5th, 6th round pick, and you have to just get him back. And it's like, okay, go down because you're still in your contract. Just go down there.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks you lose a pick, but
if you're going to do that, Justin brings up a good point. And I didn't even realize this. I didn't realize how old Colton Ellis is. But if he's 25, he's kind of outside of the timeline of being able to play. Like Binnington's going to be here either 2 more years or 4 or 5, depending if we sign him. And then Hofer's the next guy after that. So by that time, by the time there's a roster spot available for either 1A or 1B goalie, Ellis is going to be 28, 29, 30.
He's in his prime. He'll be all right.
yeah, that's prime. He'll got 10 more years.
I feel bad for him. He's going to need some Scooter's coffee. I know that.
Yeah, right.
You know what? The worst he could do is go on a run like Binner did for Buffalo and then get Buffalo in the playoffs. And you're going, well, that sucks for us, but you're kind of happy for Buffalo and their fan base. Because that's a goal you had high marks on, and he wouldn't have showed you why you were really high on him. So then you're going, okay, we have this really good pipeline of goalies. Now maybe more teams are going to be interested in that, and maybe we can do some things trade-wise down the line too. So you could turn this from a, well, this sucks situation to, hey, we might got like a 2nd-round pick for somebody down the line or something.
Nobody feels bad.
They could help out.
They've done it to themselves.
I have a friend. He has season tickets there. I do feel bad because when you got season tickets, they quit making the playoffs. So I do feel bad for their fan base. Now, if this was like Chicago, Detroit, oh God, what's that other team I really can't stand?
Arizona,
Vegas,
Utah.
Vegas. If it was Vegas, I'd be like, oh, that sucks. Bye. Because it's like, yeah, that sucks, but oh well. But like Buffalo, as Blues fans, we get how that is a struggle to be there. Not as bad as Buffalo, but we should understand the struggle and have some little empathy for it. Not like saying, oh, we feel totally bad. It's more like, yeah, we feel for you. That sucks. We've been there. It'll get better. Maybe. But it might get better.
But then they trade people like JJ Peterka for Josh Doan and Kesselring, and you're like,
you have guys like Jack Eichel, Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, Ryan O'Reilly. Like the list goes on and on. Like they've had elite level players, and they have done nothing with them. Besides, probably ruin their career and then off, and then they have success elsewhere. Jack Eichel, Ryan O'Reilly, like yeah,
they do well in other spots.
But then you have Tage that goes there, and then he gets success. So maybe it'll work out. I don't know. That would be the kind of argument for that. As for Eichel, that's probably one of my least favorite players in this whole league. So that I could have no opinion on.
You're okay with talking shit on Eichel.
Yeah, I just don't like him. I don't like his personality at all. But that's neither here nor there. So
all right. In case any of you guys are in your 30s or 33 and it's you're tired because you just can't do it anymore, and it's a Monday or tomorrow's a Tuesday, you should probably go to Scooter's Coffee. So make sure you check out any of the Scooter's Coffee in the greater St. Louis area. But specifically, if you happen to be on Highway 143 in Troxler Way in Highland, or on Vandalia Street and Indiana Avenue in Collinsville, those are the scooters we like. Go to those scooters. And that is amazing people, amazingly fast, or amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast Scooters Coffee. There needs to be like a jingle to that. Ding, 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 ding. You can also check out Hughes Custom Design. They're a family-owned and run small business that operates out of Maryville, Illinois. They specialize in laser-cut, hand-painted signs, and they have options that are typically ready upon request, which usually includes blue notes, or they can do any request for a custom job. You just kind of have to send them your logo or whatever it is, and they'll put your youth sports team on a cool wooden sign that's got LEDs in the back. We also have All American Sportswear / All American Hat Co. / Imprint Labs that is now creating these cool, what was that? The light. These cool glass signs. They can print anything on here that you would like. They also do t-shirts. They do our hats. So they're a little bit of everything. So you can find All American Sportswear on Facebook or Instagram. Same thing with AA Hat Co. is what they go by on Facebook or Instagram. And that'll get you to their website where you can purchase either the wood or the metal signs or the hats or anything. If you have something that you want on something, they're your people. I made that logo up. That was kind of cool though. I just made that up. All right. We had something else to talk about that I forgot. Thought we had like one more thing that we wanted to go through. Otherwise, I'll go through my projections, but I thought there was one more here. While I'm thinking, let's see. Justin's got a long one here, but it looks interesting. Preview show, hot takes. Bennington is a Vezina finalist. That was episode 1 of the Blues Fan Forum podcast. Luke came on and says Bennington wins the Vezina. That was like 4 years ago. Jimmy Snugglebug wins the Calder. I will preface that with I actually have in my projections him to be within the Calder race. And Broberg hits 50 points. I don't think I have Broberg at 50 points because I'm not sure if he's going to get any power play minutes. I think right now they have Cam Fowler and Justin Falk penciled in as the power play guys. So I would not mind seeing Broberg take over Falk's position on the second power play unit, but I think that's where they have him now. So Broberg hitting 50, I think would be hard without the power play minutes. Aaron, what are your thoughts? Or Dakota, either one.
I was just going to say, get Bennington like we did for the Four Nations. Sure, pencil him in for Vezina. But it'll be a telltale sign for the first 10 games he starts what JB we're going to get this year.
As for Benner, I think we'll see what it is. If the team in front of him plays well like we did last year, I'm not worried about it. I think he played fine in the preseason. I think he's got that chip on his shoulder from playoffs. So if it carries over, and Jordan Bennington with a chip, to me, is the best version of Jordan Bennington. For Snuggie, I could see him being a Calder finalist somewhere in there because barring injury and barring major setback, I thought he had a fantastic camp in preseason. He just looked like he belongs. He and Robert Thomas have this connection where it's like, you two are going to be good and you're going to be fun to watch this whole year. And I'm, knock on wood, nothing major. That's going to be fun to watch. Broberg for 50, I'll just cross that out. If he hits 40, that's a major win. Because let's say 10 goals, 30 assists. I'd be game with that and like plus minus of 20 plus. You should be in the top 3 in the Central then. And if he could hit 50 points, then you should be top 3 in the league by then. Could he move out with Falk? Could he do it without power play? Yes. Is it harder? Yes. But the kid has speed. He can go on the forecheck, do wraparounds, have great shots. He's a good backhand. If Falk's not stuff, I could see him sneaking in there, and I'd be okay with that too. But my projection, I would say 30 points for Broberg, barring injury. If he had the start as he did last year and no injury, then yeah, I could definitely see that for 30 points at least, if not more.
I'll tease my projections. Oh, shit. I was right there. I got him projected. So the problem with Broberg is we've never seen him play 82. So I got him projected to play 78. And I do have him down for 46 points. So that's got him right there.
I mean, it's possible. I could see that with especially Bukestad, Shen, Jakey, Joseph in front of the net, and he winds a shot, deflected, scores. I mean, if he's doing that and you're getting deflection goals like that because your big boys are in front, that's a good way to get points. And that's a good way for them to get goals in the league too. Because, you look at Nick Bukestad, he's like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. And if Broberg has a nice little wicked wrister shot, yeah, he's going to be able to deflect pucks in. And I'd be eternally grateful with that. I would say my only fear is just stay healthy. For God's sakes, this team is one of those teams where I'm like, if you stay healthy, you're really, 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 really good, and you're really dangerous.
Yeah, I got him down for 12 goals, 34 assists.
Yeah.
Damn.
Put him at 46 points. Last year, he was at 8 goals and 21 assists for 29 points in 68 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and he also,
possible.
he was on fire to start the game or start the year, got injured, was out for a little bit, and then kind of had a period of time once he was back where he had to get back, actually.
Yeah.
Back playing, but he wasn't back to, his full stuff. I think the most important aspect of Broberg's game, though, is he was a plus 21. So, just being on the ice, your team is scoring more than you're giving up.
Yep.
And I know people complain about the plus minus stat, but I think it makes more sense for defensemen than it does wingers. Wingers can kind of get screwed by the plus minus stat. But if you're a defenseman and your team is getting scored on, you probably have something to do with it. So I think plus minus is a little bit better stat for defensemen than it is for wingers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking at there. I'll go. Justin brought up Snuggerud. Let's find him. So I used AI for this. ChatGPT is amazing. And I was like, how many points does a Calder finalist typically score if they're a forward? And it kind of gave me the brackets of, well, if it's Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid, they were here. But if it was, he's Jack Hughes, I think, won the Calder, or people that are just a little level under. It seemed to be about 50-ish points is what we need. So I have Snuggerud down for playing all 82, getting 18 goals and 35 assists for 53 points, which would probably put him in the conversation. I think the main thing is, especially when it comes to Calder, is you got to be good, obviously, and Snuggerud's there, but then you have to have the opportunity. And being on the first line, he has the opportunity. But someone who probably is a little bit better and also has a better opportunity is going to be Demidov.
In Montreal.
Yeah. So he's going to be probably the either first line or second line center, depending on what they want to do with Nick Suzuki. I would imagine Suzuki's probably first and maybe Demidov is the second. But he's going to be the guy driving the offense for Montreal. So I wouldn't be, if Snuggerud gets second because Demidov gets first, I think that would make sense to me, and Blues fans should be happy with that.
I think with Snuggerud, you're on line with Robert Thomas. You're going to get your opportunities, whether it's scoring or assisting. So you have that option to get those points. And if you can get Butch Nabich back up to form, then you even have a more of a chance to do it as well. That could be a line where you're talking about where everybody's going, oh my God, Dylan Holloway, P. Suter, and Kyrou lines are fantastic. But then it's starting to be overlooked by the top line, which your top line's doing top line things. That's how it should be. And if that happens, yeah, I could definitely see where you're getting those numbers at, if not more.
50, 70, 90. 50 for Snuggie, 70 for Booch, and 90 for Tommy. I believe that's a capability.
You don't think Tomer can get 100?
4 podcasts ago, I threw that question to our guest, and I still think he's going to be projected lower than 100, but I would love to see him surpass that mark.
To me, if they could have a chemistry like Vladdy, Tomer, and Butchie had in that 21, 22 season, where they just put up ridiculous numbers, I'd be okay with that, because honestly, that was your second line or your third line most of the time playing, and they were just putting up ridiculous amounts of goals and assists in the games. Because that was a season where we got 103 points and we finished third in the Central.
That was when we had O'Reilly and Perron on the top line, and then whoever else the hell we threw up there. It was
Sanford usually.
Yeah. Callie Rosen, or no, he's a defenseman who played some AHL like
Sanford
all-star.
I don't think it was. No, it was either Sanford or we throw up somebody else. Because I think it wasn't Jakey, because I think Jakey played with Schenner. Unfortunately, was gone. So you had Sauter when Sauter was actually good still. And then,
yeah.
So
for Thomas, and again, it's hard to project Thomas for a full 82 because he's only done it once in his career. So I was only able to project him for 75, but over those 75 games, I got him down for 87 points. So
I think with Tomer, you got to take a consideration too. He's probably going to be playing on Team Canada come February. So hopefully, barring anything dramatic, if he comes back from the Olympics with probably Benner, probably Pareko, maybe probably with Borberg, because Borberg's probably going to play it, maybe a possibility to play a Team Sweden. You got to get that kind of, hopefully they come back ready to go too, and not just tired from the Olympics, playing over in Italy, different time zones, bigger rink, all that. Because, Four Nations last year, I think a lot of teams had a lot of rust. Like, I don't think the rest helped us. But it looked like when Benner and Pareko came back, they were just ready to go. They were gaming because, it was kind of just a nice little break, but they got to show off their skills, and it was the same size rink they're what they're used to. So that's my only caveat with Tomer. I think he can get a lot of his points in the first half. It's just that second half, will he fall off after the Olympics, or will he continue that?
Yeah, I guess you could see an Olympic, what would you call that? Not a bubble, but some Olympic rust, or just some tiredness after. If you're trying to get guys to play a full 82, but then they also get thrown into the Olympics, and now they're playing. How many games are they going to get in the Olympics? Like, if you go to the finals,
round robin,
maybe
you
6?
at least get round robin. You get at least 3 the eliminator games. So if you go to the finals, you're looking at 7, 8 games, and those aren't going to be like cupcake games. Some of them might be like Latvia or Kazakhstan, but you might get usually they like to throw US and Canada in the first Group A slot, so it's like great. So no matter what, you still verse them. You get those TV numbers, but it's still going to be fighting for country. And the only thing is, they can't really fight at the Olympics because that's a no-no. But if they go off of what they did in the Four Nations, I mean, you're still going to have that kind of game where you're going to be tired afterwards. That's an ice pack game where it's in the ice bath. You're pulling on ice packs afterwards going, oh. Even if you're McDavid or McKinnon or Tom or anybody else, you're going to be sore after that game because you're not going to get an easy pass at all.
Yeah, it's still playoff hockey in the middle of February.
Yep.
Then you got to come back and then possibly join a playoff push to try to make it to the playoffs. And then if you make it to the playoffs, shit, now you're in the playoffs. So it's like you don't have if you're playing in the Olympics for either Team USA, Team Canada, or probably even throw Sweden in there, you're in playoff push mode from the middle of February on.
And that's why you're playing half your games before New Year's Day. Like Blues will have everybody will be at 42 games by then. That's already half the season. So all these games between the beginning of the season until then matter even more so. I know next year Bettman's making it so we start sooner, so there's going to be less preseason games. We start like October, like 2nd or something. We're back to kind of normality with that. But that's where these points matter. They always have mattered. You can put yourself in a playoff spot before Thanksgiving, and if you have enough points banked, you're usually good because you're going to hit a slump. You're going to hit that lull where you have to go to Western Canada. Now, granted, most of our Western Canada's kind of took care of in the first 3 games of the year because we go to Calgary and then Vancouver, which is odd, but hey, whatever. I don't make the schedules. So you kind of take care of that so you don't have that terrible Western or that Canada swing where, like last year, we went to Winnipeg and then Calgary and then Edmonton and then Vancouver. And then you came back home where you're just like kind of beat. So you knew that coming home game was going to be that trap game. And you're just trying to get your legs back underneath you because you played those late games and you played in the higher elevations and you just kind of felt drained afterwards. And you could see how it translated on the ice.
All right. Justin brought up a good point here. And this was kind of wants to lead me into my teach me how to Doug section. So he says people forget that Thomas was not expected to ever be a first line guy. And now he is. And if he didn't become that, the Blues are in a rebuild right now, which I think is a fair statement. If without Thomas and Kyrou becoming the players that they are, the Blues trade off Shen, they trade off Buchnevich before they re-sign him because there's no future to look forward to. You got these guys that are in their 30s where now we at least have that future being, Thomas and Kyrou. But Thomas got his start at right wing in the 2018-19 season. He was the starting right winger on the Bozak and Maroon line. So my teach me how to Doug question for you is, if you're Doug Armstrong and you're running this team, Aaron, would you rather have Dvorsky starting on the right wing, since that seems to be the one location that was opened for this preseason? Would you rather him start there and play there for all season long? Or are you happy with the decision to send him down, play those first line minutes, and just let somebody else take it?
Send him down. I'm okay with that because he's a center. Center takes 100 times longer to develop than wingers do. Let him play those minutes down there. Let him lead the team down there because he's going to be playing against some NHL caliber players anyway. Let him get used to it. Right now, if we didn't sign Bukestad and they didn't trust Texier and we had no other option, I 100% believe Dvorsky would be up here playing third line with Shen and Neighbors. And that way Shen could teach him how to keep doing his center position, and then they could trade off, just like Bozak helped Tomer and O'Reilly helped Tomer, because that's your best way to do it. But right now, keep him down there, let him get seasoned, let him rack up points, because probably either next year or the year after he's going to be up here. I would probably bet more on next year. They can move some stuff around.
Dakota, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Aaron. It's like, I mean, I can see why we would put him, down there to develop, but I kind of like Aaron's take is like, let him score some goals. Like let's him rack up the points in the AHL, get maybe a little bit of an ego to him, get that confidence, get that, that swagger.
There you go.
That I feel like Dalibor Dvorsky, once he becomes an NHL player, is only going to utilize to his advantage. And I think that's kind of how Tomer developed. I do think we're at a point where we kind of threw Tomer in there, sink or swim moment, and I think he swam. I don't think Dvorsky is necessarily in swimming mode right now. I think he had a good camp. I just don't think he had a camp that we thought he would like. He had an okay camp. Nothing. He didn't really like blow us away by any means. But yeah, go down there, get some reps, get some practice, and yeah, like you said, barring a catastrophic long-term injury, we may or may not see him. But if we do, it'll be for that, that injury. I hope we don't see him because I hope that means we're staying healthy and we're utilizing the guys we have currently on our roster. But yeah, I would bet I would bet we see him next year. But it's only going to help his development if he stays in the AHL and utilizes the people around him to make him look a lot better to the front office.
I'll piggyback off that. Remember last year he was the only All-Star for Springfield. So if he can duplicate that season and continue it, because he had a slump after the All-Star break, if he could continue it the whole season, then I guarantee he'll probably be up next year for sure.
Yeah, and I did want to get a projection out for him, just because I know it's a trigger name for a lot of people of just being all excited about Dvorsky. But my projection is that he only plays 21 games. So it seems like the year before Bolduc got started, he got 20 games. It seems like the years before they become full-time NHLers, they're getting 20 to 25 games in the NHL whenever there's minor injuries here or there, and they're just kind of I think someone said getting their feet wet. So I got him for 21 games this year. Again, I don't never want to project somebody to have a major injury. So just getting the feet wet when there's some soreness or maybe someone's out for a week or two and they're like, hey, come on, we're going to get you in for these 5 games, whatever it may be.
Do you think that if, let's say he plays the 20 that you say, and he's just like a up and down call up, do you think he makes the roster next year? And if so, do you think he plays all 82?
Well, I'll refer to Justin on this one because he commented this not too long ago and says he can take another year, but out of the top 10 picks, I think it's about time for him to be called up. And I would agree with that. We're going in next year will be year 2. I mean, assuming he doesn't play in the NHL or become a full-time NHLer, he had a full year of the AHL last year and he's going to have a full year of the AHL this year. And if he can be a top 10 pick and after 2 AHL years can't figure it out at the NHL level, then there's a problem. So yeah, I would say next year is the year for him to be full-time.
Next year he'll be up. I think that 20 games. If he plays this year, it's because either somebody was just dog shit bad or you had that injury. I think if he gets play fantastic down the AHL, let's just say he gets 70 points. We'll throw 70 points on there. Plays top line minutes. He plays penalty kill and power play every night. He's getting 20 minutes of ice time a night, and he's leading Springfield like he should. He'll definitely be up here next year, and it's a proven commodity. I think this year you got your signings you needed and everything else. I think the next year you kind of have to make that hard decision where it's not going to teach me how to dug. It's going to teach me how to Steiner. And Alex Steen's going to have
it. Steen with it.
All right. You're going to have to decision do I trade Jake Neighbors? Do I really want to move Schenner? Who am I moving around to get there? Did P.A. Suter take a step back so he wasn't as good as he was in Vancouver? Or does P. Suter become, okay, he's our second line center now? And I know we signed him for 2 years, but holy crap, P. Suter put up points and he's got this chemistry with Kyra and Holloway where it's like, okay, we can't deny that. So do we move on from Bukestad or do we move? Sonny comes off the book, so okay, you could throw Bukestad down, so Dvorsky would be on the third wing regardless. You'd probably have Joseph maybe in that role still, but probably not. You're probably having him out, and Texas is probably gone too. So, I do feel he makes the team next year, barring injuries, even injuries to himself, where it's one of those where it's like, oh no. The only person that comes to mind on that kind of injury, and I pray it don't happen, knock on wood, is Robbie Fabry. I thought Fabry was great, but when you heard the scene the second time, that's where he kind of took that step downward and he became more of a, yeah, we can afford to get rid of you versus keep you now. And Robbie was a first-round pick, not granted he was on top 10, but he still was a first-round pick that was highly sought after. And everybody said at the time, they Blues just got a really good player in him.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, Aaron, of like we're all agreeing, I think, that Devo needs to make the roster next year, but where does he? Because the top 6 is solidified, unless Pia Suter isn't good, but he'll at least be back. He's got 2 years on his contract. The only one in the top 6 that isn't signed is Holloway, and you would imagine that that's going to get done at some point.
Yeah, that's
So the only open spot would be the third line winger, unless Shen decides to go to the wing and we put Devo at the third line center or somewhere on the fourth line.
I think Shen and Devo you can swap depending on the game. If Shen's feeling out the stuff, okay, Devo, you're going to be center tonight. Okay. And then they swap depending on where they're at the faceoff zone. Monty and the Blues like doing that where they at least have 2 people that can take faceoffs on the same wing, because then that way, if you get tossed, because sometimes the linesmen, I don't know what they're doing. They just like to sit there, and I guess their controllers just die and they don't want to drop the puck, so we get tossed. And then, you could switch them out. So I'm not too worried about that at all. But I know, like I said, Sonny comes off the books, I think, next year. You got Walker extended, Bukes can drop down, Torpachenko still there. I think you're fine. So I do think he makes out. Just if you're going off of projections, nothing else, not determined, I think he's on the team next year. That's probably your 12 man. So
All right. Before we get out of here, Aaron, what's your prediction for where this team finishes in the Central Division?
they finish in the Central Division.
Oh, good idea. Good.
I mean, they finish. I don't. Like I said at the beginning, the Central Division is a dogfight. This is going to be a rock throwing fight kind of division. Everybody's good. Everybody's hungry. I even put Chicago in there, where Chicago could make noise this year, and it's like, that's bad. Nashville took a step back last year. If Nashville doesn't take a step forward, then Barry Trotz has screwed the entire Predators thing, because you signed a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah, they won the offseason last year.
Yeah, and now you have, and you weren't good last year, so you're going to have them probably better this year. You have the, $17 million man in Kaprizov in Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's that great still. I think they still have holes in their game, but, Minnesota's always a fight with them. They're going to be a dogfight this year. Utah is very hungry, and they went out and made signings this year. And I can expect them to try to be in that wild card position. You have Colorado and Dallas, who are still going to be your top 2 dogs in this fight. Winnipeg, to me, regrets losing Ehlers rather, but it's still Winnipeg. And if you get Connor Hellebuyck regular season form, they're still going to be hard to beat. They're still going to be a hard out. And plus, he's going to have Olympics and everything else. So every point matters. I'm hoping you're in the top 4 by the end of the year, so you at least have wild card 1 solidified. And if you can, and you can make a little noise, or you can go on a couple big runs where you win 7 games in a row, or the 5 out of 6 a couple times, or maybe an 8-game win streak, or 8 out of 10 games you've won, and the 2 losses you got were just overtime losses or shootout losses where you're gaining points. And you're beating the Central Division, because last year you couldn't beat a Central Division team until after the 4 Nations almost. I think it got down to the last little bit before 4 Nations. You finally beat a Central Division team. You had to. I know, before I forgot, you beat Chicago, but I mean a top tier Central Division team. You have to do that. I'm hoping. My theory is your top 4, your wild card 1. And you're going against either the Central Division or the Pacific Division in the playoffs. My extreme high bar, you finish 3rd in the Central. And you push out the Utahs, the Minnesotas, the Nashvilles, and you push down either a Winnipeg, a Dallas, or Colorado, because I don't know what Colorado's going to be. Goaltending is a question mark there. I don't know what Winnipeg's going to be. Personnel-wise, they're a question mark. Dallas is still Dallas. They got rid of DeBoer, so Dallas is going to be good. Dallas did the best thing they could have done this offseason with fire Pete DeBoer. So
Fire the
Dallas
guy that's made it to 3 straight Western Conference Finals.
fire the guy that railroaded your goalie because he didn't like it, and he's been fired for multiple teams. He can get you there, but he can't get you there.
Get over the hump. Get you over
Yeah. He's the worst cock tease of coaches ever.
the hump.
He is. He did that for every team he's played for. I've got you to there, and we can't finish. So it's like, oi. So, I don't. Did he get hired by anybody?
I have no idea. Not
I don't
on
believe
Pete DeBoer watch.
I just didn't hear anything, so I didn't know if you guys might have heard something in circles or not.
I don't believe you did.
I'm sure he'll be the first hire by somebody when they fire their coach this year. He'll go to
Well, we know who
Chicago
won't
and be like,
this
let's
year.
go. Who?
Joel Quenneville.
Oh, yeah, he's with Anaheim this year. That's right. I forgot all about that. And see, that's another team that I look at and go, man, they could be sneaky this year. Just out of the Pacific. Like, they got some pieces. Like, granted, I don't know if they're going to be great. But, you throw a couple things right, it could maybe make a noise in the Pacific where they're not bad anymore. They're just, okay, they're showing that, hey, we're middling, we're middle. Now we have a team to do things with.
I mean,
look at
who's in the Pacific? Like Edmonton's probably the
Edmonton's
one there.
your top
LA.
3 is LA, Edmonton, and Vegas, not in particular. That's your top 3.
Vegas.
Then you have the Sharks, who are probably going to be, they might do anything, but probably not.
Dogwater.
You have Anaheim, you have Seattle, and then you have Vancouver. And then you have Calgary. Calgary probably is going to have that bad taste from losing out because we snuck in front of them. Sucks to suck, but hey, that's what it is. Vancouver wants to be better than what they were last year. And if you have Thatcher Demko being himself, you have a really good chance. Seattle could make noise again. I feel like the Western Conference, again, is still the strongest conference in hockey. I think the Central is the best division in hockey, just by team standards. So it's going to be a schoolyard rock fight this whole season for, I think, the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is going to be, when you play the East, you got to bully them. Even if you lose, you just got to bully them. Because the biggest bully in the East right now is just Florida. That's it. That's your bully right now. Out of the East.
That's everybody's bully, though.
It is. It's everybody's bully. The biggest bully in the yard is Florida, and they can back it up. So you got to make sure you beat them. Toronto becomes a total mind warp in the playoffs. Boston, I don't know what they are anymore. Philly and Pittsburgh, I just look at it and go, eh. New York's they're there. Montreal might be good. Ottawa might be good again. So you got those two. Buffalo's, Buffalo. You have Columbus and Detroit. So you're just kind of looking at the East going, yeah, and maybe the second best team out of the East would be Washington and Tampa. And those would be your top 3 out of the East Conference would be those 3. Carolina too. Okay. Before I get yelled at, Carolina would probably be your 4th.
They're going to be up there.
They're going to be up there, but again, they're in their own way come playoff time. They can beat the teams. I don't know what happens. It's just like the console gets turned off, and they're like, "Okay, we can play," and then it's like the Blues of the East back in the day, where we get past the first round, and then we just can't get over the hump. We can't get over the hump.
And we can't get over the hump. San Jose or LA.
We're in San Jose, LA, Detroit, Chicago, Colorado. The list goes on, and it's like, this sucks so much, and you're banging your head against the wall. But I think the Blues got a chip on their shoulders from the playoffs. I think that's going to resonate hopefully this year. And hopefully come Thursday, we're talking about a really good Blues win, a solid team play, and everything else in between. But
that Would be nice. Blues win on Thursday. I have a pretty important soccer game Thursday night, so hopefully we win that as well because that gets us closer to winning our conference. We need that. But I think Wally's ready to go. Are you ready, Wally? All right. Aaron, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
I don't really have anything else. Go buy your scooters, get your some coffee. Check out Hughes Custom Design on Facebook. Check out All American Sportswear for if you want something printed on something, they'll print it on something for you, whatever it was that was cool that I said earlier. And Aaron, give me a big let's go Blues and
Let's go Blues.
all right. See you, everybody.
Later.